All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to AMA with DNK. Thank you so much for joining me on this Saturday night live stream, episode number 24, Hot Business Sectors for 2021. I'm Dilnawaz Khan, founder of Codesign Labs and Power Deck, and now it's officially 2021. So I'm super excited. Wish you a very, very happy new year because we are meeting for the first time in this new year. And well, we are finally here after very difficult 2022. So this is our first live for 2021 and I'm super excited. So let's get started. So I'm sure a lot of you took new resolutions, you have new hopes, new goals, you've done a lot of planning and stuff. uh, and I'm sure one of the biggest thing that almost like everybody plans for a new year is to start something of their own, or starting a new business, or building a business, or at least to think about it, right? And that's one of the top things or the top priorities of people, right? So this session, if you are a student entrepreneur, if you are a student, if you are an entrepreneur, maybe an aspiring one, if you're watching me today live on this session, I am sure this session will give you a lot of insights. I've prepared a very uh, heavy session for you guys, which will give you a lot of insights about important business sector that I personally believe in will work out great in 2021. And yeah, if you have your comments, if you have suggestions, if you want me to talk about any other particular sector, let me know in the comment section below. So yeah, let's get started. So, but of course, before we jump into the session, make sure you like the video, subscribe the channel if you haven't done so. Also, make sure you're asking your questions in the live chat, and show me your love. Make sure you are commenting. Make sure you're communicating with each other in the live chat, and like the video, subscribe the channel. And also, if you want to follow my journey or stay connected, you can go and follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn. My handle is running in the ticker below, right? So let me quickly allow me to share my screen with you, and let's get started. Okay. So today, these are the five broad things we're going to talk about in today's session. We're going to basically review 2020, because if you're an entrepreneur, it's very important to see and figure out what happened in 2020, because it will give you a lot of insights and lot of learning about what you can do now. We'll also, most important, be looking at 2021 hot sectors. These are the sectors. Along the sectors, I'll also give you a few ideas that I believe will work in 2021. Of course, we'll be analyzing why now, why it is a great time to start a business, why 2020 was a great time, why 2021 is a great time. As I said, business ideas, and of course, tons of questions. So if you have questions, make sure that you use the live chat well, and you keep on dropping your questions in the live chat. All right. So let's begin the session. So the best time to start a business was yesterday. There are only two times when you can start a business. One, the time has already gone. Yesterday was the best time to start a business, and the second best time is now, right? So why 2020? So first let's quickly recap 2020 and see what happened in 2020 and why 2020 was a great time to start a business. And trust me, if you as an aspiring entrepreneur, if you as a student miss this opportunity, my friends, you have literally missed on the gold mine. But don't worry, 2021, as I said, brought in a lot of aspirations and hopes with it, and I'm sure a lot of good things will happen in 2021 as well. And I will give you more details as and when we proceed with the session. So the reason why 2020 was a great session, great year, as you know, because it was very, very uncertain, and 2020 broke a lot of myths. So imagine if somebody would have told you in January of 2020 that starting a cafe business was a bad idea, or starting a travel business was a great idea, or even starting a event business was a great idea, or sorry, a bad idea. I'm sure you would have not believed them. Cafe culture was on the peak in January 2020. We saw that in the last 3 4 5 years, cafes, hangout places, lounges, co-workings became a huge hit, and then event and travel were all time high, right? Imagine if somebody would have told you in the January of 2020 that people are going to get locked down in their homes. Education, the way education is being done, the way work is being done will change completely, or you will be locked down for another 6 months to 10 months in your house. I'm sure you would have not have believed them, right? So the important thing, and let me change the frame a little, yeah, so that you can see me clearly. All right. So the point I'm trying to make is that we currently live in a very, very uncertain world, and the point I'm trying to make is we have the biggest learning from 2020 that we have seen is the markets can change anytime, the challenges can change, come and go, the competition, the product, a lot of things. So as I said, the reason why yesterday was the great time to start a business is because when you're an entrepreneur, you should understand that you'll always be making mistakes. The markets will keep on changing, the new competition will keep on coming, and no matter who you are bound to make mistakes, learn, reevaluate, reapply, and then move ahead. And that is how the progress is done in the business, right? So therefore, if you haven't started yet, start as early as possible. Start early, fail fast, right? So there are three things that 2020 was a great time to start a business. As I said, let me give you a couple of facts, right? The most important thing is that due to the lockdown, a lot of people were their homes, right? People had relatively more time, right? Everybody started adopting digitally, so accessing anybody was easier, and overall business was slow, therefore people had more time. The point I'm trying to make is because people had time and because people were at home and were easily accessible because of digital, right? You could have reached out to them, done cold sales, got an opportunity to do the pilot, right? I'll give you an example. For example, we started this podcast called Cracking the Code. It's been 6 months now in 2020, and we were able to get right from likes of Atul Khatri to Ekta Chaudhary, who has got millions of subscribers. The reason why only people were able to or could do that with us is because people adopted digital, they were open, they were available, and because as I said, because people were at home, they would have listened to you both for idea validation, they would have listened to your cold emails, they would have listened to your cold pitches, you would have for sure got an opportunity to do pilots, maybe for that matter. And I'm sure a lot of early stage guys use that strategy, right, to conduct pilots and sales and stuff. But don't worry, if you think you missed onto that bandwagon, you missed onto that opportunity, don't worry. There are a lot of opportunities which are going to come uh, in 2021, and I'll quickly talk about that a bit as well. Right now, as I said, I've already done a few videos on opportunities for startups in 2020. If you want to watch that, you can go and have a look at that. And of course, I have also done a video a couple of weeks back on business ideas for 2021. I've already spoken about it at multiple places, multiple conferences, did a video, did a masterclass on it. And most importantly, see, the reason I believe I'm eligible to even talk about it, or I'm qualified to talk about it, is because I run a business and a startup myself, right? A lot of people who give you gyan on YouTube, a lot of people who give you tell you information online, they do not run a business themselves. And I believe one of the biggest strengths of my content and my work and the information that I share with you online is because the information, the knowledge I give you is purely from my own experience, and therefore I don't only talk about the positives, but I also talk about the negatives and what can go wrong. And as I said, I have already done these two videos. I'll give you the link to watch them later on. You can let me know in the comment if you want to have a look at them as well, right? So now let's quickly look at the 2020 unicorn factors. And it's not like that 2020 was a bad year from the startup point of view. I know a lot of people, and just to make it look clear to all of you, this is, here you go. A lot of people wherein they anticipated that 2020 will be a bad year for startups, or rather people will not get funding. There are around 11 startups that entered the unicorn club in 2020, and I'm calling these factors as unicorn factors. The reason I'm trying to put them and jot down here for you, right? And as I said, make sure if you have a question, you let me know the question in the chat, so that I can answer that for you, right? So I'm calling these as unicorn factors. And if you are an aspiring entrepreneur or a very early stage one, these are very, very important for you to understand, because the myth that every business is a startup is not right. And these are the factors that'll tell you that if you have to become a unicorn startup, these are the factors you need to kind of incorporate into the kind of work you do. So number one, if you look at all the 11 startups that entered the unicorn club, they all were technology companies or were very, very heavily technology backed. Second, their entire business model was not affected by lockdown at all, rather it was boosted by the lockdown. And if you look at the categories in which the startups kind of fall, the broad three or four categories were either fintech, you have Pine Labs, you have Razorpay, you have Zerodha. They were either edutech companies like an academy, and of course edutech got a huge boost, right? They were either a discovery or an e-com platform like Nika, Zenoti, Cast 24 or First Cry, or they were more like a hardcore digital technology companies like Postman, Glance and Daily Hunt. This is number one of the most important lessons for all of you. Please make sure that you note it down. The reason I'm trying to tell you this point is, if you, as I said, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, this will be very important for you. If you are building a company in 2021, make sure you have these factors in your company. Right now, as I said, if I have to summarize all of this information together, the common factors between all those companies were they were asset light companies, they had an online business model, and they had some sort of a digital delivery model. If you do not have these things in your own startup, if you do not have your business idea, business model revolve around this startup, right? These pointers, it will be very difficult for you to both raise money and scale your business, and it will be really tough going ahead, right? So this is the reason you need to kind of understand them, and most importantly implement the pointers that I'm trying to make, right now. As I said, I've already done a video on this particular topic, business ideas for 2021. The link of that video is in the description down below. You can go and check that link out. All right, now why 2021? Now this is where we start talking about the future, or rather the present. 2021, we are already living in it, right? So let's quickly start talking about why 2021 is a great time to start a business, and what are the factors, what are the growth factors that will drive business for you, that will drive your startup in 2021, and why it is a great time to start a business in 2021. And then of course we will start looking at the sectors and the sectoral ideas that you as an entrepreneur can start working into. All right, so the first point is that in 2020 a lot of people lost their jobs, and please don't take me in a wrong sense or don't take it in a negative way, because a lot of people lost their jobs and the economy is now trying to grow slowly and it's recovering. A lot of people, and in fact because of digital, another kind of door opened for people. A lot of people are now looking for other jobs, and they are willing to work at a cheaper prices, and also a lot of people are looking to get side income, right? A lot of people are open to consultancy or another kind of a part-time job. So access to high quality talent at cheaper prices will enable you, if you are an entrepreneur, if because I've already spoken again a lot of times about it, that if you are an entrepreneur, your team will make or break the game for you, and you cannot do everything on your own. So if you are not able to get a right talent or right team member in your company, it will be very difficult for you to build the business. So right now there's a lot of talent in the market which is looking for opportunities. Freelancing, part-time, consulting are on the rise, and of course gig economy and digital has boosted it. So 2021, a great time to start a business. Number one point, access to high quality talent at at a cheaper prices. Keep your eyes and ears open for it. Second and most important, people have now finally adopted the work from home, and digital penetration or digital adoption is on the rise, right? So it was already kind of boosted, and so there are people who are available to kind of look for opportunities and jobs, and the digital already pushed it to a second level above, or like a notch above, right? So now if we see at the ecosystem, at a business ecosystem, at a business landscape or a market landscape, people prefer to work from home. People know the challenges and how to overcome the challenges. In fact, we, when the lockdown started, we at Codesign Labs, my company, we published an ebook on the best practice of remote working, because we run a company almost from 4.5, 5 years, which is like 100% remote company. And now in fact companies also prefer people to come and work remotely, right? A lot of companies, if you see, whether right from international companies to multinationals, so even a lot of Indian companies have now put their employees either on a long work from home streak, or have permanently shifted them to work from home, because people have realized this as well. So as I said, uh, the talent is not a barrier anymore, the geography is not a barrier anymore, and excess of enabling people to of working from home. In fact, it's a new culture that has come up. A lot of people are now willing to accept opportunities, and if you are an entrepreneur, this should be your driving force. Another most important thing, of if you are thinking of building a business in 2021, another reason why it's a great time is because a lot of businesses will now prefer to outsource, or will at least think about outsourcing. We had this fundamental in our mind that outsourcing is a bad thing, or because of the crappy IT industry and bad things happening around it, a lot of people were not adopting the outsourcing things or outsourcing methods. But rather than everything doing everything yourself, and now a lot of businesses have realized that earlier they had full-time people to even do non-essential activities, and people had this myth in time that if we have a full-time employee for every possible task in the company, right, we will be able to kind of grow better. But that's not the case. People have realized that full-time keeping a full-time person is like a liability on them, and now I'm sure a lot of businesses will try and outsource lot of non-essential tasks, or at least the tasks that were done under the name of disguised employment, right? So we have seen the shift of from offices to work from home. Similarly, I'm sure you will realize that a lot of businesses, a lot of companies will now start getting into the shared resources thing, or shared resources business. And I've already started this trend happening in the startup world altogether. It's already happening, guys. So if you are somebody who's looking to get into the business game, looking to get into the startup game, you can either share your resources with somebody, mitigating down your cost, or you can get into the outsourcing business in a niche sector. And I've already spoken multiple times about the niche game, right? Another factor that will boost your business in 2021, and this should motivate you rather, that economy will now eventually recover and improve. It cannot happen that economy will always be negative of whatever the number of GDP India currently has. Economy will slowly and surely recover, and it will improve over time, creating more sectoral opportunities. And this is the reason why today I'm going to eventually talk about the hot sector that I believe will really perform well in 2021, and therefore you should wait and watch them. And then of course stay till the end. I have a couple of great announcements to make, and I have a couple of great announcements to make for the next session as well. So if you look at the overall economy, right, we have already seen the stock markets going really high. We have already seen the economy getting a little better. As the restrictions will be lifted, the world will in general open, and most importantly, India will unlock, the world will unlock, and the coming up of vaccine has kind of given a positive signal to the market, and therefore people will try and come to the new normal, or a normal 2.0. So therefore economy in the world will slowly recover, and I'm sure you should think of starting a business now, because trust me, if you're dealing it by one more year, right, you will have a lot of competition coming after you, because all those who started in 2020 and 2021 will be your competition, and then you will again miss another wave of startups, right? And last but not the least, there are a lot of opportunities, and this is something should motivate you, or at least give you the guiding light. There will be opportunities that will be created across technology, digitization, efficiency, and optimization space. This is the most important and critical thing, right? A lot of businesses, when they realize that now they need to go digital, now they need to put in technology, or do an technology intervention, and they have to somehow make the business more efficient, somehow bring in the optimization into the system, I can assure you a lot of opportunities will come here, right? So why even look at the sectors, why it is a great time to look at the important sectors. So before I jump into that, guys, I would again, as I said earlier, I would request you, if you can quickly like the video and subscribe the channel if you haven't done so far. And most importantly, if you're watching up till now, drop a comment, or drop a boom, or drop excited, or give me a thumbs up in the chat, so that I know you are watching, and you respond to me, and we can interact as well. And of course, keep on dropping your questions in the chat for me, right, which I can pick at the end of the session, right? So let's quickly look at why it is a great time to look at the sectors, or why even we need to analyze and look at the sectors, right? So the number one reason why you need to look at the sector, and I'm not talking about the ideas, my friends, I'm talking about the sector specifically, why you should be looking at the sectors, is because number one, you as an entrepreneur, you will be spending next 10 years of your life, at least 10 years, until unless, let us say, you might get an exit, that's a different ball game. You might get acquired, that's a different ball game. You might shut down the company, that's a different ball game. But you will at least be spending another 5, 10, 15 years into the sector that you need to work in. And if you do not like the sector, and when I say not just like, you will have to make sure that you not only understand the sector, but also understand the challenges in the sector, the opportunities in the sector, and most importantly, where the sector is going. Startup is a business, and a business is related to a sector, and therefore understanding sector is very, very important. All those who are watching me, if you're a student, if you think, or maybe a first time entrepreneur, if you think sector does not matter, if you think none of this matters and my idea is the next $1 trillion idea, you are wrong, my friend. You need to definitely understand where the sector is going. This is one of the reasons why I don't talk about, let us say, agriculture more, or rather, I don't you will not find examples of agriculture, rural, renewable businesses in my conversations, because I don't understand these sectors. That's the most important thing, right? So therefore, you will have to understand that sector in and out, because you will be spending a major part of your life in that sector. Second, and this is the most important thing for you, if you are not if your sector, if the sector in which you're working is not growing fast enough, if that sector has too much of competition, if it does not have a large enough, if your business idea in that sector does not have a large enough market size, if it's saturated, if it has super low entry barrier, investors will not come and invest in your idea or in your business, right? Because investors will not get excited. You need to understand very, very, kind of like I have spoken about it thousands of times, but again, I'm trying to reiterate, because I'm trying to train you and teach you on this. Investors are not there to invest in your idea because they like your idea. Investors are there to invest in your idea for a very simple reason, or rather in your business, because they are looking for at least 10x returns. And sector growth, and sector awareness, and rather entrepreneurs understanding of the sector, is one of the driving forces. An investor will come and invest in your business. If the sector is not large enough, if the sector is over cluttered, and if you do not understand the sector, multiple factors are there, investors will not come and invest. Therefore, you will not become an investable company, and it will be literally a suicide for you. So please make sure you're choosing a great sector, right? So I think these are the two reasons why I think understanding sector is very, very important. Now, let us look at three hot sectors, right? And of course, uh, sector can be anything. Almost all the sectors are growing, but these are the sectors I personally believe. I think when I researched about them, I personally believe these are a few great sectors that you should come and start a business in, because of the factors that I will be telling you now. All right. So the number one sector I want to talk about is healthcare. For a very simple reason, healthcare industry in India is projected to reach 372 billion dollars by 2022. And when I say 2022, this is not a faraway number. We will hit 2022 in just roughly 350 or 360 days. We have entered 2021 already. So therefore, healthcare sector is one of the biggest sectors. And the most important driving forces for healthcare sector will be, one, of course, because we have just come out of pandemic and COVID happened, and people have now realized that health is very, very important. But also, most importantly, people are aware towards healthy food, workout, medicine, insurance, and generally health, right? So healthcare will really, really boom in 2022 and beyond. So if you are a startup looking to venture, if you're an entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, a startup looking to venture into healthcare, ladies and gentlemen and my friends, these are the opportunities that you should be looking at. So what are the broad opportunities in the startup sector? One, any sort of a consultation. A lot of consultation space is still empty. The biggest player is Practo, but other than that, a lot of consultation space is still empty, especially in tier 3, tier 4, and rather rural space. So consultation becomes a hot sector, right? Second, other than consultation comes distribution and last mile delivery. I'll give you an example about distribution, like last mile delivery competition, which is about to happen. If you're watching this up till now, I make sure you apply in that competition as well. If you can, it's by Government of India, and if you can go and maybe be a part of that, that will be fantastic. So, distribution last mile delivery is the second opportunity you can look into. Third and most importantly is preventive care, right? In India, people were still not talking about the preventive care. We are a country where people don't take insurances, where we do not have this medical test, or the moment you start becoming a little adult or starting entering into 30s and 40s, you don't have annual body checkups and stuff like that. We were still not talking about this, but now people are doing that. So preventive care, health care or preventive care is another hot opportunity for you. Chronic diseases, right? This is a hot sector, right? And I know I'm talking about diseases and I'm talking about negative things, but as an entrepreneur, you need to be opportunist. You need to look at what's happening, right? So chronic disease another sector. And most importantly, technology intervention. Healthcare is still a sector where a lot of technology intervention is required, whether it is product development, whether it is AI, whether it is medication, whether it is digital records. A lot of things will come as an opportunity. And as I said initially also, it will not matter what sector you choose, it will not matter what idea you choose. Ultimately, you'll have to be an expert into that and implement that. That's a different discussion, different ballgame altogether, as I said. But the idea of today's session is to give you a broader perspective of the sectors that are hot, so that you at least start thinking in those directions, right? Now, the add-on things that will add to the healthcare sector is one, medical devices and hardware sector. When you talk about the general healthcare sector, I'm talking more on the software, soft skill, consultation, non-hardware part, right? But now, add-on medical devices, add-on hardware sector, this sector really becomes double the size. And then most importantly, pharmaceutical and the research around it, right? So healthcare is really, really a hot sector. If you are venturing, if you're thinking to build a startup into 2021 into healthcare space, you are in really good hand, my friends. And as I said, there's another competition, and let me show it on full screen so they can see that. There's a competition which is about to happen. It's called Grand Challenge for COVID Vaccine Intelligence Network. It is done by Meaty. If you're watching this, I make sure you at least participate in this. Go, just Google search it or take a screenshot of this particular session, and Google search it and apply. It's a great competition out there. I think it's by government of India. It's by government of India, and I'm sure it's free. So make sure you apply for this kind of a competition, and you'll get more exposure, if I may say that, right? The second hot sector I want to talk about, and now if you see what I'm doing here, you will realize that a lot of unicorns came out of this sector, rather 50, more than 50%, right? Which is retail and e-commerce. This is the second most hottest sector I want to talk about, right? And why? We were in the lockdown, right? So you went on to Swiggy, you went on to Myntra, you went on to Flipkart, you went on to Amazon, you went on to Urban Club. Almost for everything that you were trying to do, you were either dependent on an e-commerce platform, primarily a retail platform for you as a consumer. And India is a 130 billion people market. If you even look at the internet penetration of 50% on the top edge, even, which is rising day by day, you have the capacity to cater roughly 70-75 million, not 750, sorry, I'm bad with numbers, 130 crore, divide that by half, like 70 crores is the market, and then you put in other customer profiling and demographics thing, you should be able to cater 20-30 crore people if your startup ideas around retail and e-commerce sector, right? So as I said, the Indian retail market is projected to reach 1.75 trillion by 2026. Again, 5 years down the line, 1.75 trillion, huge, huge, huge opportunity. What are the market forces, or what are the driving forces for this particular market? Of course, COVID, mobile access. We have cheap mobiles and cheap internet. People have smartphones, so mobile e-commerce will be really, really huge. And then most importantly, awareness. Do you know that online buyers will increase from currently 90 million buyers to 350 million buyers by 2025, 4 years down the line, right? That's the opportunity which is already there. And we are the digital spending is projected to go roughly from current number to $550 billion, accounting for 35% the retail. I'm not trying to throw numbers at you, but I'm only trying to tell you how big the sector is. Now, if you look at the opportunity in this space, there are a lot of opportunities already in this space. One, as I said, I've already spoken about in my previous session where I spoke about the business ideas, is niche e-commerce. So if you come or go to any incubator, accelerator program, or any investor and tell them that you want to build another Flipkart, nobody will give you a single penny, because the market for e-commerce in general as a marketplace is saturated, but niche e-commerce is a hot sector. As I've already spoken about it, right from epigamia to right from a tiny owl, sorry, sleepy owl, my bad, epigamia to sleepy owl to ome, to lot of different companies are there in the market already that are into niche e-commerce, and this will be a really, really hot sector, right? Second is product discovery. If you look at Nika, if you look at First Cry, if you look at other e-commerce companies that became unicorn, they were primarily one doing e-commerce or the last mile delivery, but they were also niche e-commerce and product discovery platforms. So product discovery platform will be a great thing. A lot of products are not available on general e-commerce, or other people want specific websites for specific purpose, and therefore product discovery will be another hot sector to venture into. If you are somebody who's excited by retail, e-commerce, consumer market, this is the space for you, right? Then of course, fulfillment and supply chain, last mile delivery. The COVID thing, what I showed you here, is also more like a distribution thing. You already know that India is going to have one of the world's largest COVID vaccination programs. Therefore, last mile delivery in no matter what you do becomes very, very, very critical. So fulfillment, supply chain, and last mile delivery is another space you should be looking into. Most important, and something that excites me personally, is auxiliary service provider. With time now, when everybody will try to get onto e-commerce, now with time everybody will try to build a digital platform or digital space for themselves. They would be needing people who can do e-commerce, who can do enablement for them, right? So auxiliary service providers who can bring people from local to digital platforms will be required, and they'll be required in a huge, huge, huge number. So any kind of auxiliary service provider is going to be a huge market. Think about it. If you are trying to bring and build an idea into this or a company into this, it will be really a great time to build a company into this. And last but not the least, the most important, again, technology intervention for optimization of all of these things, right? Technology again will play a very, very critical role. In fact, I was working with one of the companies. They were basically trying to build, because I can't reveal the name, but let me tell you the technology we're trying to build. They're trying to build a technology through which you click the photo of the retail shelf in the store, and that photograph will analyze the products into that shelf and will send the data to the manufacturer or the distributor, and it will give analytics about sales, product placements, and things like that. A lot of companies who are doing it outside India as well, but in India these are high-end optimization and real-time technologies which are now getting integrated into retail physical stores as well. So technology intervention is a huge space if you want to venture into retail stuff. All right. So these are five opportunities that I think will really boost the retail sector. All right. Keep on dropping your questions, guys, if you have any, because we are about to, next 10 minutes, we'll be wrapping up the session. This is the third sector that I want to talk about. And of course, most importantly, I have a couple of big announcements to make regarding mentoring, and most importantly, a couple of big things that I'm trying to build in 2021. Now, stay till the end so that you hear to those announcements. So 10 more minutes and we'll then start wrapping. The third sector and the most important sector is renewable energy, right? Now, why should we even be talking about the renewable energy? One, of course, India as a country, and let me put some facts and figures in front of you. The country has a very, very ambitious target of building a 450 gigawatt renewable sector by 2030. India as a country is is majorly dependent on fossil fuel and then somewhat on nuclear. But now the country has set up big targets to get into renewable space, and this sector that the country is trying to get into is one of the world's largest expansion plan of renewable energy, right? And let me give you a few more driving forces factors why this sector will go to the next level. Number one, the target of achieving 40% of total electrical generation from non-fossil fuel resources by 2030. So for renewable, I think 2030, 2027 is the major top target for the country. And therefore, if you are somebody who's excited by renewable, or wants to do something for the environment, or think that they can venture into the environment space, I think this is a great time to think about it, because I think the timeline is really huge and you can start learning from right away, uh, so that you can get a grip by the time you reach there, right? By 2027, by there I mean that. Okay, so of course, as I said, by 40% a target, government of India has to deliver the energy from non-fossil fuels. uh, the country also has a target of creating 57% of total capacity by renewable sources by 2027. And then government of India has a target of installing rooftop solar projects, which is called as RTP, of 40 gigawatts by 2022. So solar is going to be really hot in the next 1.5, 2 years, because the government of India is really going to focus onto that. And as I said, I'm not the expert on renewable. This is what I'm talking is purely secondary research, but go and talk to an expert into solar. I know a lot of companies have built software and technology into solar space, but if you are somebody who's excited about solar space, renewable, go and talk to an expert, because then you can get more awareness. And last and the most important thing before I talk about the opportunities in this sector, the Tesla announcement, right? Arthur Energy was already there, and a lot of other companies were there who are building cars and bikes for India. But I think Tesla announced that they'll be entering in India in 2021, and therefore there'll be a lot of focus onto not just driving infrastructure but delivery infrastructure as well, right? So make sure this is the sector you keep a watch on, right? So what are the opportunities into this space that you should be looking at, right? So there are a couple of huge opportunities, I think. Number one opportunity is, of course, innovation and R&D. You can always look for innovation, R&D into this space, and this is one sector you can venture into. Second, and most importantly, product development. We as a country, we have seen great startups coming out of this sector, whether it is Arthur, whether it is, there are a lot of other companies based out of Bangalore building bikes and cars. As I said earlier, the product development becomes another hot space. Third, discovery, right? If you even if you build if you, even if you're able to build an EV system or a charging station and stuff like that, discovery will be another challenge, right? So therefore, you will have to build platforms through which people can discover the products and the charging station and other infrastructure things. Then distribution. There's no space or arena to distribute EV and renewable things in the country. So that will be another space. And last but not the least, in the most important one, adoption and training. The moment people start adopting renewable, adopting electrical, adopting new form of energy, they will need a lot of adoption and training facility, and therefore you as an entrepreneur can venture into this space. All right, so these, to summarize it all, these are the three sectors: healthcare, e-commerce and retail, and energy, renewable energy. These are three sectors I think will really show they are rather are promising in 2021, 22. And therefore, if you want to venture into this space, these are sectors you should go after. All right, now starting today, and I said every episode going ahead will have some sort of a new and a different flavor, including two or three new things I'm starting. So therefore, first of all, in this session from this episode, I am starting events section in the AMA with DNK. And of course, if you have any questions up till now before you start wrapping, drop your questions into the chat so that I can start picking them up. Any comments, any suggestions, I'm more than happy to hear them. Please make sure you're dropping them in the live chat, uh, in the live chat on the YouTube. All right. So I have, as I said, I will be introducing something called as the event section, where I will be talking about one major event you should not be missing, which is going to happen in the startup ecosystem. And today, the event I'm going to talk about is primarily the NASCOM Product Conclave 2021, right? So this is the event which is going to happen on 11th to 13 January. The best part is that this time NASCOM Product Conclave is happening purely and virtually. If you are an aspiring entrepreneur or a student, do not miss a chance to apply. The registration is absolutely free. Go to productconclave.in and make sure you register. And if you are somebody who's watching these sessions maybe later on you can go and kind of apply. And if you are an incubator manager or somebody who is who wants me to cover your events, make sure you send me an email or reach out to me on Instagram. All right. Now, as I said, one, of course, I'll be talking about the events in upcoming sessions, and then I have a couple of announcements to make. So hold on for a second. Of course, the next session, ladies and gentlemen, will be happening on building an MVP and product development. Lot of you guys reach out to me and think, and first, of course, you do not know where to begin the product development from or how to build the product for your startup. But most importantly, you get confused either even in the validation phase, and you get confused where should you start your product development from. So the next session is going to be on building an MVP and product development, which is going to be on next Saturday, probably I think that's 16th. Do not miss that session, right? So announcements, a few announcements today and a few announcements for the next episode, right? So do not miss the next episode, because in the next episode I am announcing something called as mentoring hours, right? So a lot of you who reach out to me to mentor you one on one, I'm opening a few hours in my calendar. This will be a 30-minute free one on one mentoring and feedback session where I will talk about startup ideas, business planning, product feedback, go to market strategy, marketing plan, and a lot more. Any questions you have and you want a one on one with me, make sure I'll tell you how to kind of grab these mentoring hours. One, of course, as I said, they're free. And second, how to avail them, I will only tell in the next AMA. And of course, you will have to come and attend AMA, because then only you will know how can you avail the AMA, right? And then of course, let's quickly start wrapping now. If you're excited about this announcement, if you are waiting for the next session to happen, and to let you know that there's something which is going to happen, you want to avail, drop a comment in the chat. Wrapping up today's session, if you haven't followed me, go and follow me on Instagram. And for live updates, please join the WhatsApp group and the Discord server for engagement. The link of both of them are running in the ticker below. And of course, the next session is going to happen on product development, building an MVP and product development, which is going to happen on next Saturday, 16th of January. All right. So on that note, guys, I think we do not have any more questions for today. I can't see the questions coming in the live chat. All right. So on that note, let's quickly wrap today's session. I hope you enjoyed. If you missed a few parts, make sure you come back, watch it later on. And for all those people who are going to watch it later on, I'm sure it was of value to you, and you will be able to deep dive, learn more about these sectors, and then start building a company around these sectors. And of course, if you're building your companies in these sectors, you will need mentoring. Come and subscribe to the mentoring hours. How to subscribe to the mentoring hours, I will get back to you. I will come online on next Saturday and we'll let you know. So other than the product development, I'll also tell you how to avail the mentoring hours. So on that note, thank you so much for joining me tonight on the 24th episode of AMA DNK, the first one for 2021. And I hope, once again, I hope and I wish uh, best of luck to all of you. Have a great year ahead. I hope that this year brings a lot of happiness, brings in a lot of opportunities, brings in a lot of hope for all of you. And I'm sure that this year, all of us grow really, really big, including the YouTube channel we're trying to build here. And thank you so much for attending tonight's live and being the part of the community. Thank you so much, my friends. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you next Saturday. Good night. Take care. And thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you so much.